Come on in, folks. Lovely to see so many people who are fired up to get involved with us with Georgia to learn more. We're going to get a bunch of more people still coming. We had a short little meeting with the team leads, the folks who are our team leads, just before this, just covering some ground. We'd already covered with them, but just kind of making sure we're all on the same page. And so they'll come flying in here in a second too, or some chunk of them will. So welcome everybody. If you want to go ahead and, I always like to kind of do this at the beginning of my lectures. It's really, really cool to see this. If you want to go ahead and pop into the chat right now where you're calling from or where you're zooming in from today, what town you're in. And then everybody can just kind of see that from each other. It's really cool. I'm obviously I'm in Seattle. Just go ahead and pop that in the chat. We'll do that for a minute. That'd be great.
So I unmuted it, but I can't hear him.
I am currently muted. That's why you couldn't hear me, Pamela.
Oh.
Okay. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. We're just waiting a few minutes here. People are still flowing in. We had quite a turnout here tonight.
Good.
It's really great.
Yeah.
If you want to pop on mute there, Pamela, or that'd be great.
Yeah.
I can mute you. Yep. Wow, look at where folks are from. Wow, Phoenix, that's the first one I saw. Seattle, Maui. No, come on. That's just cold. That's just, that's.
Utah.
Shoreline, Mercer Island, Ballard, Seattle, Hood River, Oregon. This is great. I just love this when I see these from folks during the lectures to see where people are calling in from.
Cambridge Island.
Great. Just we're at 5:03 right now. People are just continuing to come in. I have to hit the waiting room periodically, as you know, I'm sure. And so we're at over 300 participants so far. Atlanta, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Fairhope, Alabama, right? Right, Bob? Yeah. Yep. Awesome. Clyde Hill, Wedgwood, Savannah, Lauren Bryant from Savannah. We got two at least from Georgia in the house. All right. Lovely, lovely, everybody. People still coming in. Hope you're all doing okay. Obviously, this is a really trying and unsettling time in our country. It has been for quite some time. COVID is at the worst numbers we've seen, and we have a president and administration that is completely disengaged, doesn't give a damn about it. And they're, you know, of course, making it difficult for the incoming president, our president-elect Biden and Vice President-elect Harris to get information. So it's a very unsettling time, but we're going to get through this, and we're going to get through this together.
It's also one of the most inspiring times. Voter turnout, the mobilization of volunteers, the pushback against Trump that we're seeing now, even from former allies. Things are looking up.
So I think that I can say that maybe I'll wait one more minute here. That's great. And then I'll lay out the agenda for tonight, and Charles will be the first to kind of get us going here. We're just going to quick go around the Zoom room and have everybody introduce themselves. That's a joke. That's a joke. Okay.
Yeah, then tell us why you're here in 5 minutes or less, okay?
Yeah, we're just going to unmute everybody too. We're just going to have everybody just go ahead and talk at once. That'll work out really well. Okay. Okay, I'm going to get us started here. And thank you all for coming. I'm David Domke. If I don't know you personally, I'm really honored that you're wanting to do this work with us at Common Power. Really appreciative. Thank you. I'm here joined by colleagues Charles Douglas and Maggie Rittenhouse, who are going to lead this conversation, and then a whole bunch of other colleagues who have been with us in Common Power from the beginning. Just thank you a ton. Thank you. Our agenda tonight is really fourfold. First, Charles is going to give a little bit of an introduction to the work we do and how we do it. And this might be something that many of you already know, but we also know a lot of new people are coming in at this moment to be connected to us. So Charles is going to lay that out very quickly, but also in the context of our Georgia work. Second, I'm going to give an overview of the kind of political landscape as it sits right now in Georgia. It'll be a very slight taste, but enough for us to get a sense of what we're getting into. And then three, the bulk of this conversation will be Maggie Rittenhouse, our Georgia project manager, who will lead us through how we're going to do this work. And then the fourth part will be questions, Q&A. At any point you want to pop a question into chat, go right ahead. Charles and I can monitor that while Maggie's taking us through the pieces. And we hope to be out here by about 6, okay? So thank you all so very much. I'm gonna go on mute here. I'm gonna keep the waiting room coming in, and Charles is gonna start us off.
First, I'm going to ask you to deputize some people. If you can deputize Anita and Larcy to help out with letting people in and muting folks if need be.
Yeah, sure.
And also surfacing up some questions here.
Yep, that'll take me a second. Go right ahead.
Got it. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to tell you this is the most important thing that we're going to talk about tonight. This is the most important thing. It is the reason why you're here and you're not somewhere else. And it's the reason why all of you, many of you, hopefully are going to do work with CP, is because of the way that we do the work. And I'm going to share my screen here if I can. I wonder, nope, can't do that yet.
I'm trying to, oh, here we go. Coming in, Charles, incoming.
All right. So we're going to talk about this. And some folks who have been with us for a while know about this already. Some people are rolling their eyes right now. Why do I got to talk about this again? It is so important that, especially in this moment, we go back to our fundamentals. We go back to who we are and how we work. Some folks are new. Some people were invigorated by the election, are looking to keep on working or to do more work than they did for the November election. And they heard about this event. And so you're coming to Common Power for the first time. And so it's really important you hear this. For you seasoned veterans, it's important to hear this again, because all ambiguity about how we operate, why we prioritize certain things, it all goes back to these 3 things. These are our fundamentals. The first thing is mindset. And I'm going to talk about some of these in terms of Georgia. We believe democracy should be just and inclusive. Goes without saying. We got to get there by taking action, though. What that means in the context of this moment is that we're not going to do a ton of time exploring the ins and outs of strategy or high-level thinking around how we got here with Georgia. This moment now, the reason why you're here is for the action part. It's more tactical, actually, than it is strategic. So we believe that everybody is here because you agree with this part and that we need to make it happen through action. This is not the time for us to go through any cerebral exercises. David is going to have some lectures, and you can attend some of those and think about why things landed the way that they did. AJ is going to host something also and talk about the history. Those are the places where we're going to talk about why the Dems should be doing what they're doing or not, how we got to this place, how do we improve things for the future. These phone banks that you're going to go through, the rest of this meeting is about action. Focus on the action. That's why you're here. The mojo piece is the thing that we think makes us different than every other organization. All of our phone banks, which will start tomorrow and run through Election Day, are not just going to be links that we send to you. They could be. This entire meeting could just be about how to find ways for yourself to do calling on your own. It could be 20 minutes long. It could be super short. That is not the way that CP works. We do this work in community and in teams. And every time that you join us to do phone banking, you are going to plug into the CP community. A big part of it, a small part of it, a team that's been around for a long time, a team that's brand new, a seasoned leader who's been with us for 2 years since we started in 2018, somebody who just joined this year and is just really fired up and wanting to do some good. You're going to do it together. That is how we sustain into the future. People come to us for the work, but they stay for the people. And the way that we make it through this, the way we made it to 2020, and the reason why we're going to persist beyond 2020 is because we give a damn about how we do the work. It's not just about the destination, it's about the journey. The prioritization and amplification of next generation leaders is about every other journey after this. It's about making sure that a decade from now, there is bench. There's somebody who's next up to take over for me, to take over for David, to take over for Maggie, who you're going to hear from here. That is a super important part of how we operate. You're going to be in a team or on a Zoom. There's going to be some young person there, and you're going to say, why are they in charge? Why am I listening to this person tell me how to do this? They're going to be people on the partner organizations that we plug into that are going to be telling you what to do. And you're going to have a ton more experience than them. Maybe you even have a theory that works better and is more efficient. It is more important, I'm telling you this right now, that you allow them to lead so that they can develop in this work. That is so important for the future of our democracy. Mojo. Super important for CP. The last part is mobilize. And this may be the part that is kind of those, of course. This is, yes, we're going to register some voters. We're going to catalyze some people to vote. That's exactly why I'm here, get to that part. The second part of that is going to be tested. This is going to part that's going to be tested the most in this moment of ambiguity. Where we sit right now is after probably the biggest coming together around voting that we've ever seen in our lives or may ever see again. A ton of that energy, a bunch of brand new people to the space, a bunch of experienced people that were in this voting space, all met the moment. And now across the entire country, they're all focusing on one state that was not a swing state 6 months ago. 2 Senate races that maybe we didn't even think would be runoffs. And now we're all converging on this one place. And it's going to take some time for them to receive all of us. So we're going to follow their lead. That's what we do. That's the CP way. We do not have our own data. We do not have our own tactics. The phone banks that we're going to be doing are their links from Mobilize. There is nothing net new that we are creating. We are taking what they're developing and we're broadcasting that out to as many people as possible. There are hundreds of you right now on this Zoom that are going to plug into this effort that people in Georgia created. We're just facilitating it through community. So we follow their lead. If that means it's inefficient, we follow their lead. If that means it's slower than we want to go, we're following that. Because it's 6 months from now, we're still going to be in our homes. Most of us are not in Georgia. I heard some of us are in Georgia. The folks that live there are going to have to deal with this. So if they want to operate a certain way, we're going to respect that. We're going to respect that. So these three things, mindset, mojo, and mobilize. I need you to take this with you, fold it up, put it in your pocket, and carry it with you as you do this work. The last thing I'm going to tell you is what I told Team Wisconsin 2 years ago. In this moment, I need you to be 100% comfortable with 70% certainty. You need to be able to move forward and not have all your questions answered and be totally okay with that. Trust the community, trust the leaders. That's all I got.
Okay, thank you, Charles. I'm David. I'm gonna pick it up from here. Charles, can you pop off your screen? I'm gonna go ahead and share a single PowerPoint slide that I've created, which is to get us all on the same page for Georgia. So I will be doing two lectures in 2 weeks, November 23rd and 24th, about Georgia, how Biden and Harris won it this time, and then how the Senate, the Dems can win the Senate. That'll be on the 23rd and 24th. And then in the middle of December, AJ Musewe is going to do a deep dive discussion around some of the racial and the general just injustices that are present and have been present in Georgia for some time. We really believe in kind of this continual learning, continual deep kind of immersion of how we work. So AJ and I will cover some ground. Tonight, I just want to give you enough so that we're all on the same page for where Georgia is politically right now. Charles said 6 months ago, Georgia was not a swing state, okay? It is not a swing state today. It is not a swing state today, okay? So I'm gonna pop up this one PowerPoint slide. Okay, I want to make I want to provide a little primer. So a little just introduction to Georgia. Again, the lectures I'll do coming up and the deep dive special session that AJ is going to do will give us much more on this. But this is about this moment. This little primer is about this moment. And I want to say 4 things, okay? First of all, the Georgia community organizations that are on the ground there, they are the gold standard in this country. One of the great things about Common Power, one of the great privileges that we've had is that we've been able to work with incredible partner orgs around this country. New Virginia Majority in Virginia. You Can Vote in North Carolina. The Wisconsin Democrats in Wisconsin. And orgs in Nevada, in Arizona. Really incredible. In Georgia, these folks are amazing. So we are really going into a place where they know what the heck they're doing. They don't need anybody from Seattle to kind of come in and tell them what to do. In fact, they don't want us if that's what we're going to do. So I know that a question for many of you is like, what about these community orgs? Where can I give money if I'm going to give money? So I want to suggest 4 places that you might focus your energies if you're going to make a donation. Okay. New Georgia Project was started in 2013 by Stacey Abrams. Stacey Abrams started it in the immediate aftermath of the Supreme Court's decision in the Shelby v. United decision that gutted part of the Voting Rights Act. New Georgia Project is going super strong. They target non-white voters in that state, non-white citizens in that state, to kind of bring them into the civic and political process. And they are rooted right in Atlanta, but they work around the state. Fair Fight Action is a second organization that Stacey Abrams created. It is the one that now everybody hears about because it's national in scope. New Georgia Project is Georgia specific. Fair Fight Action is national. It is an organization that works around the country to bring all voters into the process and to fight against voter suppression. Fair Fight Action has a particular interest in BIPOC populations, but also has a much broader conception of fighting voter suppression. Third, Poder Latinx, which I think I can even, as someone who doesn't speak Spanish, think that I can interpret this as Latino or Latina power or Latin power. And so this is an organization that is not national, but is in 4 states in the Southeast in this country, in North Carolina, in Georgia, in Florida, and I believe also in South Carolina, but I'm not positive on the 4th one. They have done some incredible work in this campaign, this election, to organize Latinx voters, and they are one of a couple really outstanding organizations working in this election. There are a few other Latinx organizations, but this is the one. There are a few others that are doing great work, but this is the one that has really got an election focus. And then there's Georgia Equality, which is a particularly LGBTQ organization. They seek to build equality across all identities, sexual identities, all identities in general, I would say, but they have a particular start and focus of an LGBTQ kind of inclusive identity. These 4 are the 4 that we're going to recommend that you consider if you're going to give money somewhere. We cannot vet these folks for you beyond what we know about them. So it is on you to research these individuals, these organizations. But we do know enough from working with New Georgia Project, which has been one of our partner orgs in the state. We know enough about Fair Fight Action from everything that we've heard and seen about Stacey Abrams, all right? And we know enough about these other 2s from some reading I've done and some testimonials I've seen that we recommend these. If you want to know more, it's in your hands. These are 4 that we suggest. So 2 points on number 1. 1, they don't need us to tell them what to do. And 2, these are places you might want to give money if you're going to give money. Second, Georgia is a politically red state. Let's just start with this premise. Yes, Biden and Harris are going to win it this time. It certainly appears, but they're going to barely win it. All right. It is a politically red state. And to give you a sense of this, I want to show you the level of Democratic presidential candidate support, the level of support that the Dem candidate has received since Jimmy Carter won the state in 1980. Carter won it when he was getting landslide crushed by Ronald Reagan. But Carter did win it as the former governor of Georgia. But this is there's the 50% line. You got to get over 50, obviously, to win, except when there's a couple candidates, when there's more than one candidate in the race. But there's Carter winning it in 1980. And then since then, this has been the level of Democratic presidential candidate support across these presidential elections. The Dems have ranged between upper 30s up to mid 40s. And in this particular election got up to 49%. The Dems have not been a force in the state. Have they been a very strong minority presence? Yes, but they have not been the dominant party in this state. The Dems did win. Bill Clinton did win in 1992 because there were 3 presidential candidates and Clinton won it with 42+%. And then it looks like Biden and Harris are going to win this with 49.4% because there's a 3rd party candidate in the race. But this is a politically red state. I want you to understand that if we're going to call or we're going to do work in this state, we are not going to Portland, Oregon. We are not. Okay, either metaphorically or literally. We're doing work in a political red state. And to give you a sense of this, I just want to show you the advertisement that is the very first ad that Kelly Loeffler, who is one of the Republican nominees, candidates, she's a sitting incumbent appointed senator. She ran this ad. She's running this ad starting today. Okay, so let me pop this off here and then let me show it.
This is America. But will it still be if the radical left controls the Senate? Raphael Warnock called police thugs and gangsters, hosted a rally for communist dictator Fidel Castro, and praised Marxism in speeches and writings. Raphael Warnock will give the radicals total control. Saving the Senate is about saving America from that.
I'm Kelly Loeffler. I approve this message.
Okay, so that's where we're going, folks, when we're going to do work in that state. This is a state that is a red state politically, all right? So keep that in mind as we call and as if we go on the ground there. We are going into a terrain that is not King County, okay? It is not King County. All right, back up here. Number 3, point 3. Runoff elections are determined by turnout, not persuasion. A runoff election, which is set into motion by a law that was put into place in the 1960s, it harkened back to a post-Reconstruction law, but the law was put into place in the 1960s following the Voting Rights Act. The Voting Rights Act brought, obviously, African Americans into the voting process, and the whites in Georgia wanted to make sure that they would forever control who was going to win the governor and the Senate races. So they put into place a law that said you had to win an absolute majority of all the votes in order to be elected governor or a senator, which means you got to win over 50% of the votes. If there happen to be multiple candidates in an election, then and nobody gets over 50, then the top 2 advance to a runoff. White Georgians figured they would be able to control the political process because they were a numerical majority and continue to be over Black Americans there. And so they created this law in the 1960s. Since then, there have been 8 runoffs, okay? And they are not determined by winning over voters who previously voted for one candidate and now switched. That isn't gonna happen. That is not what this election is about. This election is about getting out your voters, all right? There have been 8 runoff elections from 1992 to 2018, and they all have had massive drops in turnout. The change in turnout from the election to the runoff ranged from a droppage of 91% from the general election to the runoff to a droppage of 43%. That's the very best droppage that's occurred across these 8 elections, is a droppage of 43%. We can't live in that space. We cannot live in that space and hope to win this election. We need to get that almost so it's like no droppage. Wouldn't it be glorious if there was none or a very small amount, or even we got an increase? This is about turnout. That makes it easier for us, actually, because we're going to be calling voters that we know are generally already with us. And let's just say this, that the Dems suck at turnout operations. This is not the Dems' sweet spot. The Dems have lost 7 of those 8 runoffs, and they have gotten a little closer in the last couple of years, but they are definitely a Republican advantage. So this is a red state, and the Republicans start with an advantage. Our job is to increase turnout. That's our sole mission here, is to follow our partner orgs and increase turnout. Lastly, it is a reality, though, that the Republican Party is facing some significant challenges in this Georgia runoff election. Right now, the 2 sitting senators that we're going to try to beat have called for the resignation of the Secretary of State, because arguing that the Secretary of State in the state has done a poor job running this current election. That Secretary of State is a Republican, so they're attacking their own party on this, and he's not taking any of it from them. He's fighting back. Other Republicans in the state are also calling for this guy's resignation, the Secretary of State's resignation. So there are some real feuds there. And the major newspaper in the state, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, ran a front page editorial yesterday calling out Loeffler and Perdue, the Republican senators, for this terrible, unconscionable kind of set of claims of making these arguments about fraud with no evidence at all. So there's some real feuds in the state. It is a general truth or a maxim within politics that divided parties lose elections. So that helps us. And then here's the reality. Trump's not going to be on the ballot. And Trump brings out, whether you like him or not, he is a force in American politics, and he brings out tons of voters. Those voters may come out, they may not come out. Between now and January 5th or the middle of December when voting starts, who knows what Donald Trump's going to do to the Republican Party? Who knows what he's going to do to them? We know what he's trying to do to democracy. If he blows up the Republican Party along the way, he might just blow up the Georgia election too. All of this then leads me to say, this is just baseline information for us, but we can draw a summary for it. And the summary is that these elections start out this way. these are lean Republican elections. What that means is right now, if you're a gambling person and you were going to put money down on this election, you'd have a better bet, all things being equal, to bet on the Republican than to bet on the Republicans than to bet on the Democrats. It is a lean Republican set of elections. We have to change that if we're going to win this. It will be an uphill climb all the way. So let's just have our expectations reasonable about this. It's a red state. It's about turnout. The Dems don't do well with turnout. All right. It is a state that where the first Democratic presidential candidate to win it in 30 years has just done so. This is a lean Republican state. That's where we're starting. That's where we're going. It's going to be hard. We probably won't win this, but we might. And the chances are not unreasonable. We got a shot. And so that's it for me. I'm just going to say that we're further got a shot because we've brought in our top campaign manager for this. All right. You know, the Biden-Harris campaign has Jennifer O'Malley Dillon, who they convinced to move from El Paso to Wilmington to live with the Bidens there, to live right next door. Well, we've got our own Jennifer O'Malley Dillon. It's Maggie Rittenhouse.
I feel like
All
we
right?
should have some entrance music. Do you have any Rocky? You usually do Rocky music, don't you?
Yeah, I totally do. But it's going to forget it. It's going to take me too long to get it. But hey, you know what? I forgot to read this. So I'm glad you said this. Just to give you a sense of the way the Republicans are ready to go. This is from a Wall Street Journal article today. Okay. To prepare for exactly this scenario, top National Republican Senate Committee leadership met in early October with the senior leadership of the Loeffler and Perdue campaigns. They set up a joint fundraising committee called Georgia Battleground Fund, and members of the NRSC team arrived in Georgia prior to Election Day. Now more than a dozen NRSC, National Republican Senate Committee staff members, including senior aides, are embedded with the Perdue and Loeffler campaigns on the ground in Georgia to help with political decisions, communications, data, surrogate, field, and digital operations. They are working to build a presidential level voter contact operation, a massive field program that includes 21 regional field directors and 1,000 field staff. All right. So I read you that not so you despair, folks. I read you that so that we understand that this is like 1980 and it's the Americans playing the Russians in hockey. All right. We can win, but we've got to thread the needle exactly right, and we will do our part. Maggie, it's all yours.
Okay, thank you.
Wait,
yes.
before you start, hold on. So Maggie Rittenhouse joined us in
Let's lower the bar here.
Well, you're not going to say all this. I think this is super important. So people know who David Domke is, right? He's a small celebrity in Seattle. I am the person who appears with him regularly these days. Nobody knows who Maggie is. So Maggie joined our community in 2018. And Maggie and I both worked at Starbucks corporate. And we both left Starbucks corporate. Nothing wrong with Starbucks corporate, but we wanted to do more. We wanted to do this work. And so Maggie followed her heart to do this work. She comes to this with years and years of professional experience, and we get to benefit from that and the planning. The other thing is, because you're not going to say all this, Maggie, she was a campaign manager for somebody who did win in 2020 in Minnesota, Emma Greenman. And so we get the benefit of that as well. On top of that, Maggie still has the record for leading the largest CP team into Virginia to help flip the state blue. 55 people, 75 if you count the young folks down south that joined as well in 2019. So she's going to say a lot of stuff. She's going to have a ton of information. She is the smartest person in the room. We have 100% trust in her. And if we win these 2 seats, it's going to be largely due to her brilliance. Maggie, sorry.
Okay, thank you. And AJ was with me, PS, in Virginia. Thanks, AJ. Well, hi, everyone. That was a lot. So here we go. Let's talk about Georgia. I'm going to share my screen to walk through kind of where we are and where we are with all of the work. Uh-oh, I need access to share the screen. David, can I? Should have checked that, sorry.
Up, incoming.
I got it. Okay. Everybody can see that? Good. Okay, great. So Georgia runoffs. So I wanted to speak, the first, someone else doing admitting for this. Okay. The first thing I wanted to talk about was to speak to CP's approach to how we work and how that's being mimicked and how the OSOF campaign, they sent out a note about how they want people from out of state to behave and to be part of this. And so I wanted to share that with you just as a ground to level set all of us. These are direct quotes. One, make space for Georgians, especially BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, people of color, and other marginalized groups. And so I just wanted to summarize, we are going to listen to our partners and do what they ask us to do and step back if we need to. So that will be a guiding principle. The second thing is, please do not try to tell the staff what to do. And it can come off as condescending. We're going to keep on following our partners and listening what they want. As I ran a campaign, it can be really hard for a lot of people to come forward with a lot of ideas. We're going to trust the campaign staff and the organizations to tell us what they need us to do, and then we're going to do it. Right, and then this is key. Right now, both campaigns are in a time of transition. I'm finding this, and we'll talk about this more. So they were winding down, especially the OSOF campaign wasn't expecting necessarily to go to a runoff. So there is a lot of ramp back up that's coming. So we have to be flexible. So I just want to reiterate that as we talk about these opportunities, they're going to change over time, and we're going to keep on learning and talking to our partners. So the key voting dates, I've seen a lot of in the chat, just so you know. November 5th, so that's passed, people could begin requesting absentee ballots. Just so you know, everyone has to re-request absentee ballots. It doesn't matter if you voted in the primary or if you voted in the election, you have to re-request it. December 7th is the deadline to register to vote, so we're obviously in between those two. Early voting starts December 14th, and the actual in-person voting is on January 5th, just so everybody knows when the key dates are. So here's our current plan, and again, this is going to change, but I want to share with what we're planning right now. So number one, to know so you know who we're talking to. We're in touch with the campaigns, both the OSOF and the Warnock campaign. We have reached out to Fair Fight Action, and we've reached out to the New Georgia Project, and we're getting contacts with those people to learn what they need and what support. They're in the early planning phases. And because of that, we're only planning 1 week out at this point. So you will see, and I'll show you on the website where you can find everything that needs to be done. We're only planning out till next Friday. And we will continue to plan on a 1 week cycle as we learn more. We're focusing right now on phone banking for the OSOF campaign and the Warnock campaign, mainly only the OSOF campaign. We have one Warnock phone bank that's happening on Saturday, but they have not put any more phone banks up on their website or on their Mobilize link past Saturday. So we're really focusing on OSOF right now, and their clear needs. That's what the campaigns need us to do. We have a very short window of time, as David said. This is a very short window of time to drive turnout, and it's all about turnout. And that means when you have a 10% answer rate on the phones, there are a lot of calls that need to be made in a very short period of time. And so we know that these campaigns really need the support to make these calls. The other things that we're exploring right now are postcard and letter writing. I have a group, Larcy, Linda, and a few other people who are working on what are the postcarding and letter writing opportunities. We will have those up on the site shortly. We're just trying to figure out which ones are the easiest to manage remotely. We're looking for texting opportunities. Someone just sent me one that Warnock might have started texting, but I hadn't found any yet. So we'll be sharing those when we have them. And then there's the question of on the ground opportunities. What we used to do was go and support teams on the ground. And it is an amazing experience, and we would all love to do it. Obviously, COVID is at its worst that it's ever been. So there's going to be health concerns if we're actually going to do that, as well as whether the campaign needs us and if we're the right people to come. So we're just going to keep on listening, and we will plan travel for those who are willing to do it if we're needed. So we'll just keep you updated on how that goes. This week, so this next, it's not exactly a week, but we'll say 9 days that we're planning. All of the opportunities can be found on the GA Senate tab on the website. And I'm going to walk you through that in just a second. We're going to go there. On that site, there's an overview that's just kind of our key principles, which we've already gone over here. So hopefully they'll all be very familiar about being comfortable with 100% comfortable with 70% accuracy, all of that stuff. There's a calendar, and on that calendar, you will find all of the phone banks that we are hosting for these candidates. And there's a Google document that's embedded into the site that really is a great source, especially if you're new with us, to read through of what are the things you need to do before you join a phone bank. Do you need to sign up for an action ID? Should you look at a short 2-minute video about how this works, just so you feel comfortable? We also will add, we did a whole training called Phone Banking for the Reluctant. So if this is your first time, it'd be really great if you might want to listen to that, that training so you can start to feel comfortable. We will support you no matter where you are on your journey when you come to these phone banks. But it's always nice if you could get more comfortable if you have looked through some of those trainings before. And then before we go to the website, I just want to tell you, as David and Charles said, for those of you who are new, is there someone on, sorry, it's kind of echoing. Be sure everybody's on mute. That we worked in teams. So we had 20 teams across the country. We have kept that structure for now because we had so many amazing leaders, and we're spreading the work out across those teams. So you'll see each day that we have a phone bank, it's hosted by a certain team. So Team Georgia is kicking it off tomorrow, but then we have Team Deep Red is leading one on Saturday. Then we'll have Team Iowa and Florida. There's different teams that are going to lead that. So that's different team leaders, all of whom are extremely experienced in welcoming volunteers in, and will help you get started. So the whole point is to build community and also be supported in your work. So you'll see, OSOF campaign hosted by whoever the team leads are. If you've been on a team before, that's a great one to join because you'll obviously see your team leads there, but you can go to any one you want. It doesn't matter. It's just so you know which team leads are running that phone bank. So I'm gonna hop over to the website. Can everybody see the website now? Yeah? Okay, great. Okay, yep. So if you're going to commonpower.org, then there is a tab at the top that says GA Senate. So this is your one-stop shop, and we will continue to add to this of what opportunities are out there. So we have these key things to remember.
Hey, Maggie.
Yeah.
We are gonna pause for 1 second on this. So this is a good place to stop because you're gonna go into exactly what to do and how to do it.
Yeah.
We've got a special guest here with us that just joined, and I want to talk about 1 second. David mentioned about how this is not a swing state. This is a red state, and we're a bunch of folks calling from Seattle, most of us from out of state, and we're going to be talking to people that maybe don't see things the way that we do, and we've got somebody who can help us kind of walk through what it's like to talk to people who disagree with maybe your view of the world and find some common ground. Van, you there?
Hey, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing all right. We appreciate your time.
Well, I appreciate what you're doing, and I'm have to be on Anderson Cooper here in a few minutes, but anytime you are in the fight, I'm with you. So I wanted to just give some encouragement and appreciation. Obviously, everything is still on the line, and everything's on the line for the control of the Senate, which basically is the whole ball game. Right now, we've given Biden an airplane that he can't fly. So that seems highly unfair. So I appreciate everybody trying to figure out a way to give us another miracle in Georgia.
Hey, Van, this is David. I had a chance to meet you a couple months ago as part of Common Power. Hey, I led our podcast a couple days ago with the comments you delivered on the air when they got the news. Can you dive into that for a second for us and give it from the heart for us a little sense of how you're feeling right now?
I think I feel the same way as everybody else. Relieved that we didn't reward 4 years of nonsense with 4 more years, but also determined that we finished the fight. We had hoped to be able to grow our numbers in the House, and we actually lost numbers in the House. We had hoped to be able to get control of the Senate. Right now, we don't have it. So it's still all on the line, And but I think everybody knows how I feel. That's pretty obvious how I felt about the whole situation. No point in repeating any of that stuff. But we've got a long way to go, and I appreciate people staying in the fight.
Thanks, man. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
Tell Anderson what's up. Hey, and hey, we're gonna be here fighting.
Oh, look, I think if anybody ever doubted whether or not our efforts matter or whether or not all this work makes any difference at all, I think we got our answer on Saturday.
That's right.
I mean, we got our answer on Saturday. So let's not forget the Republican Party in some ways is stronger than it's ever been. They got the Supreme Court, they've got the Senate, they got net 1 more governor, net 3 more state legislatures. They have Fox News, which is now considered moderate compared to Newsmax. They've got a big movement behind them. And we have each other, and we're gonna win. As long as we have each other, we're gonna win. So I just wanted to say how much I appreciate it. It matters. It matters. It's gonna matter in January what we're doing right now. And I'm gonna go talk to Anderson. But that's the great thing about Zoom world. I can just throw on my jacket. I'll be talking to Anderson in a few minutes. But anyway, appreciate you. Take it easy.
All right, Joe. All right, take care.
Thank you, Van.
It's good.
Thank you.
Thanks, Eddie Young.
Thanks, Eddie Young.
Maggie, I hope you don't mind that we cut in for that.
I mean, no, that's okay. That's okay.
I figured you'd be okay. Maybe.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a go team right there, huh? That's AJ's phrase, by the way. AJ, you see that? Go team. You want to tell these fired up folks exactly how to do the work now?
Yeah. Wow. I feel a little intimidated by following that. Okay. Anyway, so let's do the work. Okay. Let me share my screen again real quick. Okay. Can somebody give me a thumbs up? You can see the website. Yep. Okay, great. So commonpower.org /GA Senate. This is where you can find everything, and there's a tab at the top. So this has the key things to remember, a beautiful picture, and then the most important part is there's the calendar. So if we'll start down here. We're on the 12th here. You'll see that every single one of the phone banks through this week that we have planned out are on the calendar. I'm going to click into one just to show you what you will do. You'll see the phone bank for John Ossoff. It'll say what team is hosting it. You'll have the Zoom link, which is where you're going to go at your designated time. And we're also asking for you to register at the campaign on their Mobilize site. So there'll be a Mobilize link. You're just doing that to let the campaign know that you're going to be calling in that time, but you're going to go to the Common Power Zoom, and that's where you're going to meet as a team, get trained, and do the calling. So you can click into any of these events, and these will continue to update and add this. So if you have free time or you're trying to plan your schedule, this is the place to go to know when things are happening and when we're doing phone banks. Below that is a Google document that we will continue to update that gives you information about what you need to do, like what the format of these phone banks is going to look like and what you might need to do before. So for example, for the John Ossoff phone banks, we're just giving some background of what it is. And then we have a few things that we'd like you to do. Sign up for an action ID. Look at the call script. You can print it out from here. Tells you a little bit how to sign up. And if you want to Google Voice or if you want to download Turbo VB, and then there's a link to John's policy positions. We will also add, I saw in the comments, we actually have a comparison between John and Purdue. We will add that. We'll add a few more documents on here. So there are things that you can look at before your phone bank so you feel comfortable. And the same thing will happen with Warnock. We're having other opportunities at the bottom right now. We haven't worked directly with Fair Fight Action on anything yet, but we wanted to surface it up with other people. There is a weekend of action for Fair Fight that you can join in if you'd like. But these are the ones at the top that we are going to be supporting. So really, this is the place to go for everything. If you were already on a state team, you're going to get information from your team leads, but they're really just being a conduit. Like they might send you an email once a week to say, reminder, this is when our team is hosting a phone bank, but really we're asking everyone to kind of get all their information from the site here and to find out where everything's happening. So I'm going to stop sharing. Hopefully that's pretty clear. And I think that, I'm not sure, Charles, if you guys have sent this link out yet, but I'm sure it will go in tomorrow's email to the whole CP community.
Yeah, it's going to go, yeah, it'll be in the link tomorrow, as well as a few other reminders coming out of this meeting.
Maggie,
Okay.
can I roll through a couple quick questions here?
Yeah,
for you?
please.
So if you're a volunteer, do they need to do anything before they arrive at that phone bank?
If they're brand new, I would suggest you look through that document and you need to sign up for an action ID. And I would suggest you download and print the script for your own sake so you can read through it. If you've volunteered before with us and you've used virtual phone bank, you really don't need to do anything except show up. And even if you don't do those other things, you can show up. It's just for your own, just for feeling comfort to show up. There's not a huge requirement, just a few things.
So if I want to phone bank tomorrow or Saturday, and I've never done it with Common Power before, can you tell me one more time, please, slowly, step by step, how I get to that?
Okay. So if you want to phone bank tomorrow, you need to go to our website, commonpower.org, click on the GA Senate tab, go to the calendar, click on the calendar, sign up on Mobilize, and then click on the Zoom link and join at the right time. If you have extra time, I would suggest reading through on the GA Senate, the Google document, the few things that we recommend you do before you join us. But if you don't do that, that is okay. Is that
Yeah,
good?
that's good. That was really good. Thank you. I just know that I need to hear it 4 times myself, so I appreciate it. It's my family. My family calls it my teacher voice. Dad, you don't need to repeat it the 4th time. I'm like, yes, you do. As a teacher, you need to repeat it the 4th time. Okay, Maggie, who are we calling?
Well, so we are not picking who we're calling. So each of the campaigns is picking it's called their whatever universe they want to call a universe of voters. And right now it's some subset of Democrats that we're calling, given it's a turnout election, as David mentioned. It's going to people that they strongly suspect are Democrats, that they are trying to turn out the vote and get them to vote. So we're trying to tell them to register or sign up for an absentee ballot, et cetera. It might be slightly different between the campaigns, whether like exactly who they're targeting, but it will be generally highly likely Democrats that we're calling.
Okay.
And it's important to note that could change. That could shift. It could shift from day to day. It could change from week to week as the strategy changes. And everyone just needs to be ready to adapt and be nimble.
Okay, Maggie, what are we gonna? Don't we have a concern we're gonna call people too many times?
So yes, this is a concern in every campaign. And I think it really hit home with me, and I ran a campaign, what David just said about what the Republicans are doing. So think about the onslaught of what Republicans are doing to get out their people. Yes, it can be annoying from a voter standpoint, but generally studies have shown that even those excess calls, they are not turning people off. They're giving them information. And a lot of what we're doing is trying to help people with basic information of requesting their absentee ballot and being sure they know how to vote. So yes, you're going to get some annoyed voters. That is true of every election. And yes, there's a lot of eyes on this, but these lists that the campaigns are pulling are people they need to talk to, and only 10% answer. So like, we have a lot of people to call and get through. So I would not worry about that. You're going to get some annoyed people, but that's what campaigns need to happen. And it's what drives turnout.
Okay, I'm rolling through the questions for Maggie and Charles. Charles, can we post reluctant for the phone banking for the reluctant video again on our webpage?
Yes, I'll put it on the Georgia page, and I'll highlight it on the homepage as well.
Okay, great. Maggie, if someone hasn't done exactly virtual phone bank, but they've used another system or two, how hard is it to kind of learn what they're going to have to do here?
This is the easiest one.
Okay.
So it's the easiest system that's the most intuitive, and it's slow because you call from your own phone. For the Warnock campaign, you will be using Hub Dialer, which is a little bit more complicated. But I promise that the team leads will help you and support you, and we'll put you in a breakout room and get you up to speed.
I found the Hub Dialer to be the easiest dialer too. So
it is the easiest dialer, and it's not the predictive dialer. It's the I forget what it's called. It's the one where you actually get to control each time you call, it just calls faster. So it's not like you have to wait for someone to talk and then talk. So it's one of the easier ones.
Maggie, does calling people even make a difference? I mean, come on.
You should listen to the phone banking for the reluctant. Given where we are, it is besides door knocking, it is the most effective statistically at driving turnout. So yes, it absolutely matters. And this is even more important because it is only about turnout.
Maggie, I don't know much about these candidates. What is that a problem?
No, it is not a problem. You can look at their websites for policy, and also we'll post a side by side with to compare between the candidates. But generally these calls, their campaigns are actually asking us not to do persuasion. This is really about strong Democrats turning out. So it's giving them the information and trying to get them to vote. So you do not need to have any in-depth knowledge. They're actually asking if the voter has lots of questions about a policy issue to not go there and to put them in touch with an organizer. So you do not need to have in-depth knowledge about these candidates.
Maggie or Charles, what if someone starts yelling at me on the phone or they don't want to talk to me? Do I need to try to persuade them?
No, you say, thank you, have a nice day, and hang up. You do not have to deal with that.
Let me pause there for 1 second because we're going super fast. This is not going to be easy. That's why we are going through the lengths we're going through to get people to do this work, because everyone doesn't like to do this. It's probably going to be unpleasant. You're going to talk to 50 people. You're going to try to make 50 calls and talk to 5 people. That is why we need you, because most folks cannot do that. It doesn't feel like it's working. It doesn't feel like it's worth my time. It's not fulfilling. It's harsh, possibly. It only takes one person to say something about your mama. Now you don't want to do it anymore. This is why volunteers are needed for these types of things. But it works. It works. We were on election day a few days ago. We were looking at the Purdue numbers, hoping for a fraction of a percent to drop below 50. Every single person that you're able to connect to matters. Those 5 people you talk to in 1 hour make a difference. Power through it. You got this.
And I know there's tons of questions coming in. I'm working with the Georgia team to do a 1-pager on just how do I request an absentee ballot, where it's the state Secretary of State's website, some basic stuff, because that's stuff you do want to know, and we will be sure to prepare you for that. But you do not need to be an expert. And I just want to reiterate, if you have not called with us before, we call in community.
Yeah.
So you can stop calling and talk to a team lead or another person. And if you need to cuss, if you need to do whatever you need to do, because that was a bad call, you can laugh together and move on. And that is really critical for how we do this work. Because you're going to get some bad calls, but you're also going to get some really amazing calls. You might get someone who hasn't ever voted for, and they now get the importance, and you helped them. So just know there's highs and lows, and we do it together.
We really do. Of everybody who's new to this tonight and you're wondering, doing it in community is actually the only flipping way that I could ever do this. All right. It is a reality. So Maggie and Charles have got all the details. So Maggie, all I got to do is show up. That's what you're telling me. All I got to do is show up, right?
That's correct. Show up. And we'll have stuff for you to read over. And even if in the first one, if you can't make any calls and you just want to read through the documents and feel comfortable, that is fine. But please show up, because showing up is the first step. Usually it takes 1 or 2 or 3 to get comfortable, and then you'll get good at it. I had never phone banked before 2018, and now I'm really good. So, I mean, it's practice. It's just practice.
Okay, can you clarify, either one of you, for those who have been around CP, there are these existing state teams, and now there is a Georgia focus. So can you just tell us again how these existing teams map onto Georgia, and then how brand new people are folded in?
Yes. So really so everybody who's net new should just go to the Georgia website, the Georgia Senate website, and jump into activities, and we will bring you in and treat you like part of our teams for every single one of those. So just know that. if you've been part of teams before, you can now go to any phone bank you want that works for your schedule. But we just wanted to create some continuity between all the old teams and this stage. And we also wanted some of the team leads to be able to show up and kind of spread the work for all of the phone banks. So you'll have like Team Iowa and Florida are going to lead phone banks together. Then we're going to have Team Ohio leading some phone banks. So you're just going to see different faces at each of the phone banks, but it's not exclusive. You can go to any phone bank you want. Is that enough? Is that clear enough?
Yeah, I don't know if you said this already, but I'm going to say it again if you did. Sorry, I was chatting with somebody and I'm trying to recruit here from this. Jesse Lee, I see you. You are amazing. So you're in here answering all the questions that people are asking.
Thank you.
We need to recruit this person. The reason why the teams are intact and we're all kind of assigning these teams to a specific day is because community is the most important thing. We want to keep our community intact. It just came from a massive effort in November. So we're not gonna. It's not broke, so we're not gonna fix it, and we're just gonna move into this with the same great families that you all have built, and then we're gonna add Jesse Lee to it.
Could I make a comment, Charles and David and Maggie?
Yeah, go ahead.
One, I would just really like to thank
Can
Team
you tell us who
Georgia,
you are, Shelley?
for
Shelley, can you tell us who you are real quick?
I'm Shelley Morrison. I've been one of the co-leads for Team Georgia. And just to react to a little bit in the chat, most of the people from other teams that have come and worked with us have made the comment is like, I can't believe how polite Georgians are. You know, I called the wrong number and, you know, oh, honey child, that's no problem. You know, have a wonderful day. So I know texting things can be a little harsh, but our experience phone banking has been, it's a very, very polite culture. I also just really want to acknowledge my team for doing so much to get us to where we're at. And Kate Batuello is on the call tonight. We have a voter protection group that with a ballot rescue, they rescued 15,000 ballots. And you look at how small the margin was. And I'm working with Maggie, but there's going to be more opportunities for that. And especially if anybody wants to travel. But I just really wanted to shout out to all of you that have been part of the team and have worked so hard. And we're eager to get on everybody's phone banking every day and share as much as we can. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that, Shelley. Let me reiterate, you don't need to join the Georgia team though to do this work, okay? All of CP is going to be focused on this. I don't want Shelley to be inundated with hundreds of people now trying to join Team Georgia. We are all Team Georgia now, and we're all going to fold into the work. So do exactly what Maggie's saying. Go to the tab, pick a day that you can join, and then hop in the Zoom.
Awesome. Yeah, and I know there's like lots of questions. I think there's been some stuff about when we can, some dates about absentee ballots. We will get the official answers to all of those, and we have them. I just don't have the one pager yet. So that will all live on the website so that you will have the like source of truth about those pieces of information. There'll also be a how-to to do a Google Voice if you don't want to use your own phone number. All of that is on the website and in the document. If it's not there tonight, it will be there by tomorrow. So just know that all of those resources are there. I would recommend reading it through just so you do all that before you go into a phone bank if you can.
Okay, I'm gonna bring us to a close here for folks who want to jump off. We've covered all the essential ground, right, Maggie? We've covered all the ground.
Correct.
Okay, Charles, you're gonna bring us to a close here, and then Maggie, Charles, and I will stay on here for another 10 minutes or so for any questions that people have. But we want to like close the main event here. Okay.
Yeah, I just want to. I'll close by saying that there's a ton of stuff that's here. And I'll say what I said at the beginning. 100% comfortable with 70% certainty. You don't need to know every single thing. Okay, you need to trust that there's someone else who's working on this that does know. Folks in this organization, people who we're working with on the ground in Georgia, we will get the information to you. All you really need to do is show up and be willing to power through these calls. That's it. That's what you need. Okay, and you got it. You got everything you need right now. Just join up with the CP community, and we're good to go.
All right, we're just gonna pause here for like a minute, and we'll just let everybody who wants to hop off. And then Maggie and Charles and I will stick around for another 10 minutes or so just to do questions with people who want to get into anything. Thank you so much. The work starts tomorrow. Let's go.
Thank you.
The work starts tomorrow, but if you want extra credit, Hayden, I saw you on this call. Start studying tonight.
I thought the call started at 6, so I guess I missed a bunch. If I just go to the website, all the information about how to sign up to call is there, is that right?
This video will be posted actually on the website by 10 tonight if you want to watch it.
Oh, good. Okay.
But then the answer to your question, if you're familiar with our system, is yes.
Okay.
To the Georgia, there's a Georgia tab on the top of the page now, top of the web page.
Okay. Yeah, I did Arizona before, so I think I should be okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Can you unvideo me? Can I ask a question? I think I missed it. Did you guys say that we're mainly calling Democrats?
We did say that we're mainly calling Democrats, but not entirely, because this is an election to get out voters who are already in your camp. It's what's called a turnout election. Yes.
One of the lessons, it seems like, of people I've talked to who have Republican friends, I mean, everybody said, like, if they're voting for Trump, there's no hope. But these people that voted Republican, I don't know. It just seems like we really need to turn some of these Republicans to win. And I mean, I'm just wondering, the partner organizations in Georgia, I keep reading about the right wing and all the inroads they're making and what they're doing with the churches. And right now they're just organizing like crazy. And I mean, it just seems like lessons that were learned in this election, kind of pivoting that to, appealing to people's like base human capacities. There must be a few Trump supporters and Republicans that could be persuaded by all you people, not me, but all you people that are so good at talking to people.
Hey, Sally, hold on one second. So at the very beginning of this, we talked about mindset and then moving into action, and which part we own as CP. We are at the tactical level. We're plugging into the plans that folks in Georgia have outlined for us. We're not going to overthink it. If Stacey Abrams and the folks that she's allied with in Georgia told us that we need to call everybody in Georgia who's left-handed, that's exactly what we would do. Okay, I want to be super clear for anyone who's got questions about which strategies that we're going to. We don't choose strategy. We don't. The strategy that we chose was to mobilize you all to go into Georgia and do good work with good people for good people. The how and the when and the why, we leave that to them. We leave that to the largely Black and increasingly young folks that are there mobilizing the good people of Georgia. And we trust and respect every decision that they're going to make when it comes to who we call. It's really important for us to know as we go into this state.
Okay. So my question is, I feel more comfortable with text banking than I do with phone banking. Are you going to text banking?
That's our goal. Yeah, that's our goal. I mean, right now we're taking opportunities as they come up. We just haven't seen a text bank opportunity yet. So just kind of watch the site, and we'll add those as we find them.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
May I say something about that?
Yeah, go ahead.
This is Magdalena. I signed up with Mobilize through a link that MJ sent us, the Florida team, to do text banking and phone banking in Spanish. Through the organization Fair Fight Action. And I actually already signed up, and I had the training today, and we're gonna start doing that on Saturday and Sunday. So there is gonna be texting. They show us how to do the through text and everything. So I just wanted to let Maggie know, so there is a little bit of texting, but there people have to be proficient in Spanish and English to do that. Okay?
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Hey, David, Charles, Maggie, two questions actually. Is one of the races viewed as more winnable at this point, and would we be putting more resources behind that race? And the second question is, do the campaigns have access to all of the voters who requested a mail-in ballot for the November election and need to re-request that ballot? I assume that those will be a high target to prioritize.
Sure. Maggie, I'll take the first question, and you can see if you got any answers on the second one. So Bill, you know, there's factors that go into each of these races. Warnock is probably the better candidate for Georgia, and he also is running against the candidate who's the most beatable candidate, Kelly Loeffler. So Warnock's election is probably a better shot to win than Ossoff's if you're putting him on a continuum. He's closer to the continuum to win. That said, the what we now know in American politics that has been present since this kind of polarized environment built up strongly over the last decade and a half is that partisan elections move in lockstep together. Mostly they might be off by 5,000 votes, 10,000 votes here, but the reality is people are going to turn out to vote overwhelmingly for both, whoever they're going to vote for. They're going to move out to vote for. So So Warnock probably has a little bit better shot because he's got Loeffler he's running against, and Perdue is an incumbent, a pretty popular incumbent. So he's going to be a little tougher. He's going to be tougher to beat. But I think that that it's highly likely they go together. I think they highly likely to go together. And right now, Ossoff is offering a lot more phone banking opportunities. And Ossoff his script is mostly about John Ossoff, but Warnock is in there too. So Warnock is going to have a more on the ground, get out the vote strategy than Ossoff. We might contribute to that, or that might just be folks in Georgia. We'll see. Maggie?
I think, Shelley, did you have an answer about the absentee ballots? Because I can tell you from my Minnesota experience that we can track that. So I assume that they are looking at that.
We have all the data from the general. So the Secretary of State kind of would send update as soon as absentee ballot were requested. And we called into those phone banks. So the Georgia Dems already have that, and the campaign should have it. So I think that for new requests, the Secretary of State will still need to do that. And if we get out a lot of new votes, then we should have that information. But it doesn't mean that their phone numbers are correct. And so there's a lot of database cleaning that we can expect to still be doing.
And Maggie, you've been making the point that things are just going to continue to explode in terms of opportunities. We're just going to keep getting more and more opportunities.
Yeah, and usually the campaigns aren't being like 100. They're not like we pulled these exact people, and but I'm assuming, given that the Secretary of State feeds into the voter file, who requests. It's not necessarily they requested, but they sent in an absentee ballot, and I assume they're targeting those people. So I'm just going to trust them that they're doing that for now.
I think the other thing I'd add to that is that because of the capacity that's flowing into the state for these elections, they're going to go beyond the baseline universe, right? The turn out your base universe that David was talking about. They're going to start with that, and they're going to knock that out. But with all the additional capacity, They're going to send some flyers out to some counties where they go, I wonder if we can win this one. And we're going to get some rough days of calling where they're experimenting with some municipalities trying to pull some votes over. And that's what they should do. They should when they have so many people willing to call for them. So that's going to evolve and change over time.
Maggie, I have a question. Excuse me, I'm sorry. This is a question that those of us that are phone banking tomorrow morning, will you be able to upload the data about the specific dates in case callers have questions?
Yes,
Yes,
yes, I will do that tonight.
Thank you.
There an opportunity for people to just jump in and ask a question, or how is this
Yeah,
working?
go ahead, Will. Go ahead.
Okay, hi. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. So I'm really finding a lot of these questions very interesting because my wife and I have known John Ossoff since the day he was born. And we've known Reverend Warnock and been to the services at Ebenezer for years, off and on. But I would say that from our experience phone banking, that something Charles said, I think is really important. A lot of the calls will be to people who are already well-established Democratic voters, or as you said, likely Democratic voters. But I would think that in this election, I think I would reinforce what Charles said, that there are going to be a lot of calls going deeper into probably South Georgia, parts of Central Georgia, and up in North Georgia, where people have not made probably as many phone calls previously. We were on a Zoom call with Reverend Warnock a couple days ago, and his bus is already traveling around the state. He's been down to South Georgia, and he said, he's stopping in places, the names of which you all have never heard of. Well, actually, Americus, Georgia, you've probably heard of from the Civil Rights Movement. But he said, people are just flabbergasted that he's there because politicians don't campaign down there. And he said he's also relying very heavily on the faith community. And people asked him questions like, well, what about all these white voters in North Georgia? And he said, a lot of them are very religious. I'm going to approach them from the standpoint of faith. So to somebody who raised the question, aren't there some Trump voters out there that we can get to? There may very well be. And I would hope that maybe all of the dust up with the Secretary of State and just, I saw how appalled people were by the ads here in Georgia. Well, boy, you haven't seen anything yet. That's just the first ad. So I do think that you're right, that people are going to probably get some kind of really crazy calls. But in our experience, most of those people who don't want to talk to you, they just hang up anyway. So it's not like they're like, oh, I think I can be convinced. So talk to me for a few minutes. No, they're click, goodbye. And, so.
Hey, Will, how'd you get to us? How'd you get to us tonight, real quick?
Well, two ways. One, in the interest of full disclosure, my wife and I have been working for probably over a year with a chapter of Indivisible called Necessary Trouble, which was, of course, named in honor of John Lewis well before he passed. But I also have a very good friend who I went to law school with, Mike Fox in Seattle, who was a King County Superior Court judge.
We love Michael. We love him.
Yeah.
Michael, and my father is a triple UW graduate. So.
Okay, all right.
And my mother went to UPS, and so did my sister. So
hey, T-Town, all right.
Deep roots. Okay, enough of that. Let's get back to business.
Hey, man, glad to have you here.
Thank you. That was an awesome summary for Georgia. Great. Thank you.
What other questions we got? Here?
Hey, Will, that was better than the Van Jones cameo, man. Thank you.
I love hearing Van Jones. Yeah.
Hi, this is Ed in Pennsylvania.
Hey, Ed, how you doing?
Hi. Thank you, Maggie, for responding to my message today, and David, obviously, for the phone call. We are, as you know, a rather large group here in Northeast Pennsylvania, and we have a lot of people who have a lot of experience with phone banking, and so we'll turn them on to those options. We also, because we're a little closer than Washington State, that a lot of people actually are ready to drive to Georgia and to do whatever is needed or wanted on the ground there. And so we're looking for guidance, obviously, from you guys, from folks on the ground in Georgia as to whether or not that's helpful, what is needed, where it's needed, what can be done so that we can mobilize folks that can go from here in Pennsylvania. And Will, I'm a UW grad, as Dave knows also, a Washingtonian here in Pennsylvania at this point. But whatever you learn, and I know that the Democratic committee in Pennsylvania, in Georgia today, put out a note saying stay home and don't come. And so we're getting mixed signals as to what's needed. And obviously we want to do what's helpful and not do what's not helpful. So any guidance you have for us that would be very helpful.
Yeah, I can speak. We haven't heard from anyone yet about on the ground opportunities. And so we're just going to wait until we actually hear from the campaigns themselves. There's been some comments of like the people on the ground are the best, which is right. The people on the ground have the best information, and they really are in the transition and ramp up phase. They're still making their strategic plans. What are we, like 8 days out from the election? So I think we'll know more, and I will absolutely keep you in the loop because we're interested too. We will go if they need us,
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah, the Ossoff campaign had 3 people working for him as of 3 days ago, two days ago. Just on Sunday, the 2 campaigns were meeting to talk about grips. So we're right here in the very beginning of all this, and as soon as we know, we will let anyone know who is interested in travel.
Hey, Ed, and this is David. I had to go off camera because I'm moving around, but consider yourself having a direct line to Maggie, Charles, and me, okay? With your group in Pennsylvania. And here's one thing to know about us. We execute, all right? We get it done. You said on the phone today that you're a doers, that you guys are a bunch of doers. That's when I was ready to marry you, okay?
All right. Great to hear that, David. Nice to meet you, all of you folks. Washingtonians and otherwise.
Good to meet you.
Anybody else have anything that they wanted to ask?
Well, I was going to say, my son Noah, who's also on this call, lives in Pennsylvania and is interested in going on, down to Georgia. And he has an idea, which maybe Noah, do you want to run it by him, by them?
Well, yeah, I was also just curious. I'm a printmaker and artist and muralist, and I have already done some artwork pertaining to the runoff, and I was curious if you guys had any ideas of ways in which that could be helpful or organizations I could plug into.
My best option is, and I can send, if you want to send me your email address, is that on the Slack channel for the campaigns, I've seen a lot of back and forth about artists and graphic, like people that are offering their time in some way to create ads or things on the ground. And I think that probably the best, because I don't know what's going on in that space, but there were people that said, we would love to have your skills. So if you want to send me your email, I can at least get you the Slack channel where you could join and ask someone on the campaign if there's an opportunity.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I definitely will do that. Thank you so much.
Yep.
I have a question, and it borders it. It's probably not on this page, and I don't mean to tell people how to run their campaigns, but making calls to Texas, it really broke my heart when I reached people who were in convalescent homes or were bedridden, and I just keep waiting for my absentee ballot. And it occurs to me, and I assume the campaigns have this, but that an outreach in some way to make sure people receive absentee ballots. What are the rules about absentee ballots there? Are they tagged with a certain number and assigned to a certain voter, or are they a stack of them at the clerk's office you pick up, or what? How does that work?
I just want to say that that's where the voter protection hotline in Georgia has been just amazing, because we can give that number to people who are calling, and I think Maggie will also have a way for the link to be in there for them to track their absentee ballot. So it's, you know, very comforting for people to know they have these resources.
Well, yeah, what I was wondering is these people who are, you know, no one can go into these homes and no one can, they're sort of trapped, but they really wanted to vote, and just what it takes to get an absentee ballot to them. That's what I'm wondering. And I'm wondering then, as a stretch, on if there's a letter writing campaign, if it's allowed, what are the rules? I mean, is it allowed to include an absentee ballot or not? I mean, how they're tagged and everything. I'm totally naive about it, but I just feel like, you know, there's probably a few thousand votes that might be, you know, stuck in beds out there behind windows that no one comes to, that, you know, could be reached maybe. And I don't know how to do it, so.
You know, I don't know the answer to that. And I think we'll have to rely on partners in the state. I mean, I'm sure for the voter protection, their request, like their answers of like, can you send an absentee ballot request form to someone? I'm sure there's rules around that. I don't know those. But until we get kind of on the phone with the campaign where they're like, I don't know if the campaigns are going to be the ones doing that, or if it's going to be more local organizers who are thinking about certain target demographic who they're going to go after.
Right, and I'm thinking faith communities might be involved. You know, there's got to be some work going on out there.
Patricia, this is David. Absentee ballots can only go to registered voters. They have to go directly to registered voters, and those registered voters, they come with their names on them. They come with their names. Every ballot comes with your name. Like when I get a ballot here, it's dedicated to me. Okay. So the reality is that's what it is. If they want to vote in person, and obviously they're not going to be capable of it, these folks you're talking about, then they can do that without the ballot. But that's a weakness in the system for sure.
They built this country, you know. So. Thank you.
I have a question. In Georgia, there is a sizable Indian American population that I think we would like to reach out to. And if is there a way? Do you have any suggestions for making phone calls? You know, what does one say? I have absolutely no idea how one should approach that. But I would definitely like to, target this particular population, because there is a sizable population who may not be that aware of. I'm sure they are, but you know, I just want to be sure that we reach as many people as possible. So any training?
Yeah, so let me tell you what I know is, and this is through actually our team Wisconsin, there was a group, South Asians Organizing for Biden, and I just got an email from them that they're targeting their list to South Asians in Georgia. So I think you should go to them, because we don't have that connection. And if my email, like there's at the top of the GA Senate, it says like contact Maggie, and it'll click my email. If you email me that, I will then forward you the South Asian for Biden group that was working in Minnesota and Wisconsin, that they're now working on Georgia.
Thank you.
Is this sort of a cultural question? And I haven't lived in Georgia, but I did grow up in Texas, and it was yes, ma'am, no, sir. And I have a friend who did some campaign work in Alabama, and she said years ago, and she said, you know, that one of the tricks she used, or one of the entries, was to refer to any female that answered as Miss and this. Is there any sort of guidance on that sort of thing?
I'm from Tennessee, but I don't know. Will, you got any thoughts on that? I haven't heard that before.
Okay, it may be antiquated. Yeah, I just wondered.
Maggie, can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I just respond real quickly on that one point about the Mrs. thing? I just really think that depends on where you're calling. If you're calling South Georgia or a more rural area, maybe. But if you're calling in the metro area, you have to remember that probably 60% of the population in metro Atlanta, which is 5 million people, are not from Georgia. I mean, a huge, so you just say, hi, my name is Will. I'm calling on behalf of John Ossoff.
So my question, Maggie, is, so if I have a bunch of contact information for Biopic and some other organizations, do you want me to just send that to you so you can at least look at the information and see if any of it is helpful for the campaign? Or are you just wanting to just basically go through Warnock and Ossoff's campaign?
No, you can send that. You can definitely send that to me. I mean, we've been exploring all kinds of things, and we've reached out. Like, we have the organizing director from the campaign. It's just, I think they're overloaded right now, to be honest. So we're not getting a lot of like personal responses, which is
okay.
surprising. But I will take whatever contact, especially if they're personal contacts, if there's something that we could do for sure. And we're looking to continue to make connections on the ground there.
I'm gonna help Maggie out for a second. If it's a personal contact that you have, please send that to Maggie. If anybody has like a mega list of links to organizations, don't send that to her, please. She's got ton.
I've got those. So it's more if you know someone there, that is super helpful. We have like, I have I don't even know the word. Lots of lists of organizations that we have tried to reach out to, but we're trying to get things started with the campaigns, knowing that they're the ones that really need to make calls right now.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks.
Hey, I'm gonna wrap us up with a close, unless anybody's got a question that like you just can't get off this call. It's got to absolutely.
I have a question. What kind of cookie are you eating and is still on your cheek?
Oh, it's brownie. I'm making some brownie mix. All right.
Yeah, it looks delicious.
That's ridiculous.
It's not for me. It's not for me. Yeah, right. No, I got to get it going. It's got to cook. It's got to cook, man. Okay.
Does it taste better if you make it in the dark too?
No, it looks dark here, but plenty of light here. But whatever. All right. Anybody got anything else I got to ask? Maggie, you're a rock star. Okay. Yeah, you're awesome. You are the perfect person to project manage this. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank you all for joining.
Thanks for joining.
You've got everything you need, and if you don't have it right now, you're gonna have each other to go through the journey of getting it. So that's all you need. That's all you need is each other. We're good to go.
Absolutely. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Good night.